You're listening to Combat Radio with Ethan Dettenmeyer, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Now, the last time I saw you, Jonathan, we were having lunch at the Lux Hotel, and you were patiently answering every one of my daughter's questions about the movie Clue.
Yeah, that's right.
And I learned...
I don't remember what I said, and none of it have been correct.
I think you were talking about how you wished it had an R rating and it could have been more brutal to connect with today's kids. No, actually, I learned a lot about you that day because here she was 9 at the time, asking you questions about a movie she loved, and you were just very patient and saying, well, did the butler do it? We don't know. Which ending did you see, love?
Yes.
And we had talked about how the multiple ending.
Yeah,
I thought that
right.
was... It showed you what a class act you were, but you're here for some official business.
I'm here for official business, yes, because we live in New York now, so.
And that's a bummer for us.
So, but I'm here because I'm directing a play that I've co-written, which is on at the Geffen Theatre in a month from now.
Yes.
And which was been on in London for 3 years and was a big hit there.
And the play is?
It's called Yes, Prime Minister.
Yes, Prime Minister. I think we've all heard of this.
It's a satirical comedy. Well, maybe that's not the way to describe it, really.
So, Yes, Prime Minister, is this something you also wrote, or how did you get in business with this product?
Well, it was a television show originally. I wrote it 33 years ago with my writing partner, Tony J. We came up with this idea about writing a TV show that actually showed how the British government worked.
And how does it work, Jonathan? Clue us in.
Well, of course, it doesn't. That's
right.
That's why it's a comedy.
So,
as Will Rogers famously said, if you've got the whole government working for you, there's no trick to being a humorist.
True.
So anyway, we wrote this series. It was a colossal success in its day, and it's a bit like sort of Cheers or Frasier or something. Here, it just goes on being shown forever in Britain, which is very fortunate for us. And people have been saying to us for 30 years on and off, can't you write a play based on these characters? And we'd always said no. And then we thought, well, why not, actually?
Why not, indeed?
So we did, and we didn't know how it would go. It was a new cast, and people associated it with the actors they'd seen on television. But it was, from the moment it opened, it was a complete sellout. It was completely sold out. It was an enormous hit. And it was terrific fun. So we're doing it here now. It's the US premiere is going to be at the Geffen Theatre, starting previews on June the 4th.
I hope we can come down and see that.
Oh, I hope you will.
I would very much like to be a part of it.
It's about the way the government doesn't work, and although it's about the British government, governments don't work the same way all over the world.
Right.
They're all based on the principle that if no one knows what you're doing, no one knows what you're doing wrong.
That is a principle true in many governments. You're correct. I got just an offbeat question. You referenced both Cheers and Frasier, a show about alcoholics and psychology and nutcases. Yeah. Is there any reason you referenced those two shows when talking about a play about the British government?
I hadn't realized
no implications there.
But well, since you mentioned it, there probably is. It was a subconscious or an unconscious connection. But it is certainly true that in our play, the Prime Minister does drink too much, with some catastrophic results.
Who is the Prime Minister this time around?
He's called Jim Hacker.
Jim Hacker?
Yeah.
Who's the actor you've cast as in the role?
Michael McKean.
Oh, perfect choice.
Who's great, and who I worked with a long time ago when we made Clue.
Yes.
He was Mr. Green.
Yes, he was. Or he was the FBI agent alias Mr. Green, depending on
That's right.
which ending you saw.
That's right. And then he was in Spinal Tap, of course. He
was
brilliant. Great in Spinal Tap.
Brilliant.
And he's in all of Christopher Guest's movies, I think. And he's a really wonderful actor. He's playing the Prime Minister. He's great.
You could go on, as my kid often does, about the cast of Clue and how brilliant you did putting that together. But I want to ask you about the play real quick.
Yeah.
And previews start June 4th, you said, at the Geffen.
Yes.
What is the difference in your mind being such a skilled film director and now going to the stage?
Well,
was that challenging?
No, because I'm not going to the stage. I started on the stage. I directed at the National Theatre and the Royal Shakespeare Company and a number of West End productions. The West End is our equivalent of Broadway, before I ever directed a movie. So for me, it was the other way round. I had to learn how to direct a film, having directed on the stage for many years. And in fact, when I made Clue, I didn't have the faintest idea what I was doing. I was really trying to find out.
You
what
fake it pretty good.
I was
Jonathan.
learning as I went along. I had a wonderful director of photography who helped, and a lot of people around telling me how to do things. And I did a lot of homework, of course. And I'd seen movies all my life, but I'd never done it before.
So was that a difficult transition?
Tremendously difficult, especially since it was a farcical comedy, and on stage that means that you see everybody at the same time, so you can have a lot of simultaneous action, which is what happens in the play, which is also a farcical comedy. But in film, because everything happens in a much tighter shot, you can't get a laugh from two things happening at once.
Right.
Unless they're in the same shot, and they hardly ever are. Unless it's a very wide shot. If it's a very wide shot, the audience doesn't really see it.
Yeah, instead of simultaneous reaction, it's okay, now
that's
turn
right.
the camera
So
and
it's
react.
a completely different technique. In film, you focus the audience's attention where you want it by moving the camera in closer. And if you want them to focus on a particularly important or, for instance, moving moment, you go to a big close-up so you can see tears in somebody's eyes or something like that. On stage, you can't focus the action by moving the camera because there isn't a camera. So you have to do it with the way you block out the action on the stage in interesting diagonal patterns, and you do it with lighting cues, you do it with all kinds of other tricks that the audience doesn't see, or I really think they don't see. So that because the trick in directing on stage is to make sure the audience are all looking in the right place at the right moment.
Right.
Whereas in a film, that's the one thing you can be sure of. That's the plus of film. At least you know everyone's looking at the same thing,
right?
Because that's all you're showing them.
Exactly.
Right. So it's a completely different technique. It makes a huge difference in comedy.
Has anyone ever approached you about turning some of the films you've directed into plays, such as Clue? I can't believe that's not on Broadway somewhere.
Well, although I wrote it and directed it, I don't own the rights. I think either Paramount owns the rights or Parker Brothers or whoever owns Parker Brothers now. I don't know.
Do we really need a gaming company owning the rights?
What I think Clue would be is a great musical.
Probably.
Because it's only 80 minutes long, or 85, but I think it includes all the credits and everything. So it's probably just over 80 minutes long. So you add an hour of songs, you've still only got a 2.5-hour show. You don't have to lose anything from the script. You just add a bunch of funny songs. I'd love to do that.
Clue is a musical?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got some lyrics coming to mind right now that are perfect for it. But we'll jump to that at another date because I don't want to turn the audience off to the important things you're saying.
You're listening to Combat Radio with Ethan Dettenmeyer, right here on LA Talk Radio.